Hey guys, Lucas here from Finch Surplus, and today we're just gonna have some fun. Because something I've forgotten too many times, and I think a lot of us have forgotten, is that surplus gear is just fun. Growing up in the 90s, to show my age a little bit, I had a lot of fun with surplus gear, just throwing on some Alice gear, grabbing an M65 parka or jacket, and just getting out there, even if I didn't have a gun for the gear, just having fun with it out and about in the woods and whatnot. So kind of going back to that and kind of just having fun. And what's kind of driving this fun kit for the day is I bought a new fun gun. This is a gun we'll touch a little bit on it, what it is, and the kit I built for it, because I wanted some kit for it and I didn't want the old stuff. I wanted to see what I could do with modern gear to replicate, to an extent, the gear that would have been used with this gun. So a fun kit, a fun gun, and just remembering to have fun. So if you don't like fun, then go find fun somewhere else. So let's touch on this gun briefly, and then we'll break down this kit, because I know there's gonna be a lot of questions about what the heck is going on here. All right, so what I have here is a British number 5 Mark I, known as a jungle carbine. It is one of the last iterations of the SMLE, Lee Enfield rifle that they used for about half a century. It's one of the last iterations of it. It's a really, really handy little carbine that I picked up recently. And like I said, I wanted some kit for it. So now that you kind of know where that gun comes from, you can maybe start seeing some inspiration from my kit, because this gun, again, half a century of usage means that it saw World War I, the original iterations of this gun, saw World War I use, saw World War II use, and saw some about a decade after World War II usage, as far as like the general profile of this gun. And I wanted to kind of build a kit that reflected that and some of the history of this gun and just have some fun. So number 5, Mark I jungle carbine. This is a short SMLE at the end of the day, shorter than the short SMLE already was, and just fun and handy. So now we got that out of the way, let's touch on inspiration for this kit and then break down the kit. Since this is a British gun, I want to do some kind of British inspired kit. Now, I don't care for the kit that was used with this gun, which is the old pattern 37, pattern 44 kit. I think it's ugly, don't really care for it. But one British kit I do quite like is the old pattern 1908 kits that we saw in World War I. So we'll throw some pictures up here so you can kind of see some comparisons. The pattern 1908 is one of those first sort of semi-modular webbing based kits that was used and really pushed out there. So I was like, okay, I like that idea. I like that design. I like how much ammo it holds. I like the general format. How can I replicate that with modern model equipment? And so we started sitting down and digging in. And if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see this is probably about the 4th or 5th iteration of this kit to really kind of nail down how to make a pattern 1908 kit in modern gear. So this kit itself is based off a USMC padded sub belt. So that is the base of the belt, or the whole kit. It is a Marine Corps padded sub belt. That's where everything's mounted to. So if you're wondering how I started with it, I grabbed one of them, then I upgraded the harness. So the harness is one of the really obvious things that's different than normal. This is a Extreme Gear Labs custom harness. You can find him on Instagram, find him on Facebook. He's a great guy. If you know what you want, he can make it for you and do a really good job doing it. So that's the base of this kit. It is a Marine Corps padded sub belt and 4-point suspenders from Extreme Gear Labs. And that's, at the end of the day, suspenders and the belt, easy to get a hold of. When we go from there, it takes a little more finagling. So we got the base down. Now, how did I build out from there? All right, so now that the base of this kit's out of the way, we had to figure out how to hold the ammo while still mimicking that 1908 kind of look and stylization. So grenade pouches, that's how we hold all the ammo on here. So we'll go through that in a second. But also, if you look on here, there's some like wings going on, and we'll break that down at the end, because it's, once you see how it's done, it's like, oh, okay, cool, that works pretty easy, but it is a little time intensive. And the explanation, we got to get some good shots of that. But we put some wings on here to, again, mimic the 1908, add some ammo to the kit as general, because on the belt line, you can't hold that all much of ammo, but once you put the wings on here, you can definitely plus up how much ammo you're carrying. But like I said, grenade pouches, that's how we're holding the ammo. Now, through the SMLE, or the jungle carbine, uses Enfield 5-round clips, just like your 1903 Springfields, 5-round 30-06, your Mosins, 5-round clips. All these are going to fit in grenade pouches. So you can fit those right in there, get them in, get them out, hold 2 per grenade pouch, and your life's pretty easy. Now, standard grenade pouches, the standard USGI grenade pouches, they fit them very well. It was a little baggy. And we couldn't figure out a good way to get that excess out of there. So we had to switch grenade pouches, and we found ones that work way better than standard issue grenade pouches. And that is Marine Corps M67 frag grenade pouches. So they're a little smaller, they have a buckle closure with additional hook and loop tab, and those hold those 5-round clips way better. SKS clips, I know you're gonna get asked about them. They do not fit in here, but standard grenade pouches, they do fit in. So there's your option there. So that's our holding ammo. The 1908 kits hold 150 rounds of 303. I'm holding 80 rounds right now. You know, not quite as much, but still nothing to laugh at. So happy there. We see 1, 2, 3, 4 on each wing or side of this belt kit, how it's set up. So got a lot of ammo on here, and it's in a way that mimics 1908 kit, and it's in a way that's usable. Also on these wings, you're gonna see a flashbang pouch. These are acting as like small utility pouches. In one side I have a tourniquet, and on the other side I have a multi-tool and a flashlight. Now, as much as this is just a for fun kit, I still wanted to set it up to where it's, you know, usable. If I wanted to go out for a weekend, you know, we're out in the woods and I wanted to bring this rifle in this kit, I could actually use it. So you'll see some of this where, you know, it's for fun, but it's still a usable kit at the end of the day. So that's what's going on up front, is 8 total grenade pouches holding 80 total rounds, and 2 flashbang pouches holding some small items that I would want on a regular kit and I can put on this kit. And it's stuff that sort of ish mimics what they would carry on a World War I kit in the first place ish. But yeah, it keeps it kind of flowing, keeps it nice, and it all wears really well. So going from my right and around, they have a lot more stuff on here. Some of it's for fun, some of it's keeping that aesthetic of the old kits, but in general, you know, it just finished out this kit. So let's break down what's going on around me and back to this ammo. All right, going from my ammo on the right side, I have my tomahawk, hatchet, and a collapsible folding saw. Now, while that's not something I really carried back then, I figured out a way to carry it on here very easily. And I wanted to get it on here to kind of mimic that whole, they carried E-tools or entrenching tools, some Pioneer tools, sometimes hatchets and axes on their kit. And so I wanted to mimic that a little bit, because out in the mountains, it's pretty useful to carry a small hatchet and a saw on you, especially because you can't really dig out here. Not because it's not necessarily allowed, but this ground is not conducive for digging in. So cutting down trees and stuff like that is something I'm gonna be more focused on rather than digging in with an E-tool. So you'll see right there in I have a pop flare pouch holding my collapsible saw, and then I cut a flashbang pouch open to fit my tomahawk, and that holds it real secure, and I can get it in and out fairly easily. So, you know, if I needed to go clear trench, I got my tomahawk on me, but at the end of the day, it's holding what is a Pioneer utility type item. Going from there, 1-quart canteen pouch. Now, you know, 1-quart canteen, they would have had that slung down on those old kits, even going through like the pattern 44 kits, but I wanted to keep it on that belt line, not slung down. I can mount it real easy in a 1-quart pouch. And I'm holding some water purification, some fire starting stuff, and those accessory pouches on the side of the canteen pouch. I also have a canteen cup and a canteen cup stove. So all things just really handy to have with your canteen, your 1-quart of water. It is on the back, but I figure if I have time to drink water, I have time to kind of take this kit off, pull it out, and drink it. Going from there, a standard IFAK. Now, old kits, your IFAK consisted of maybe a bandage and yelling for whoever the medic was and hopefully getting dragged out back to an aid station. But it is modern times. I can put a full-on IFAK back there, plus a little bit, and be happier, ready to go. And again, if I wanted to go out in the mountains with this kit and walk around for the day or go camping or something like that, I can put this on, you know, be a little more confident in my ability to be okay at the end of the day, because I have an actual IFAK. Going from there, I do have a bayonet on here. Now, I did get a reproduction bayonet for the jungle carbine, and it came with a, you know, the sheath it would have come with back then. And I didn't really want to build a frog out for it to hold that bayonet sheath, but I did find that a number 5 Mark I bayonet does fit in a Marine Corps bayonet sheath. So those old 3S Marine Corps bayonets fits right in that sheath. There's some room, but it fits in there. And I can hold that and mount it right on Molly to my belt. And not have to worry about finagling an old school frog onto my belt. So as you've seen throughout this kit, I'm using gear not necessarily in the way it's intended. And I think that's something all of us need to remember is we don't need to go spend a lot of money on specialty built pouches for XY item, just so we can get Z effect out of it, when a lot of times other pouches we have can be used to really good effect for those items. So as you've seen, holding stripper clips here, cutting out a flashbang to hold a tomahawk, holding a collapsible saw on a pop flare pouch, reusing a modern bayonet sheath for an old school bayonet. You can redo a lot of things, save a lot of money, and it's stuff you may already have laying around. So you don't need to go out and buy all new kit for no reason. So that's this kit in a nutshell, but it's pretty cool. It works out really well. Holding a lot of rounds, mimicking that 1908 pattern of kit with a old school gun that draws all the way back to World War I use. I like the aesthetics of it. It works very well. And it's just cool to be able to do this because, like I said, having fun is really important, and surplus gear is really fun, especially if you grew up with it like I did. Going to surplus stores, grabbing stuff, taking an Alice triple mag pouch and just using it for God knows what, but using pouches and having fun with it, and using your gear, using your backpacks, your clothing, all that surplus stuff, and just getting outside and having fun. So I know I've said fun quite a few times, but just really want to reiterate, make sure you're having fun with your stuff. So that's that kit. Hopefully all that made sense. Let's break this wing down so you can see how this wing is made up, and then we'll get into a little more and show off this gun a little more. All right, so these wings, they look a little complicated, but as we break them down, you'll see what's working out. And again, it's another way to use gear you wouldn't normally use in a whole different way that really works out for you. So open this up and get into it. All right, so this wing started off its life as a U.S. Army Air Warrior MOLLE adapter. So when you're looking at this, like, where'd you even get this? It's an Air Warrior MOLLE adapter. We do carry them. I'll link them down below so you can grab one if you really want to. But it's an often just very overlooked piece of gear, addition, whatever you want to call it, adapter. But we took that and we figured, oh, that could make our wing for our 1908 style kit. So we mounted that on here, a little one forward. If you see this, I have one whole column of MOLLE just kind of sticking out. But that's fine, it's still pretty secure on here. And then we had to stiffen it up. So if you see all this white back here, this is an assault pack stiffener that we had that was cracked. Still really durable. I know it cracked, but it's still really durable plastic. And we cut that out into like a fork that fits down the MOLLE columns to stiffen this up quite a bit so we can carry some weight. Now from there, we had to do a lot of strappage to get it kind of supported in and to make sure this wing was completely supported. So if you see back here, going from the actual suspender point, we have a one routed through there, and then it's just kind of winging its way up to give two supports that come up into one point on this wing. So routed here, routed over here. I know I have a lot of extra strappage, I'm sorry about that, but it routes from here up and through, up to this buckle, and up through here, up to this buckle. So that way, we're not just supporting one side and keeping it floppy, we're getting as much support as possible on this wing and keeping it from being too floppy. Now from there, with it being taller, we did need to put a sternum strap on here. So we took some extra strappage and put a sternum strap on here that is adjustable to keep this kit tight to me. And that way, this isn't flopping around if I run around, roll around, get in the prone, get back up, all that stuff. So it looks a little complicated. All you need is some 1-inch webbing, some tri-glides, some buckles, and you can do this yourself really easily, and some plastic to stiffen it up with. But it's really easy at the end of the day. Looks really complicated. Once you sit down and start doing it, you'll figure it out pretty quickly though. So that's the wing. And that's what really makes this kit possible, is doing these wings. All right, so hey guys, hope you enjoyed this video. It was definitely a lot of fun to make. I could definitely sit here up in the mountains for probably another hour talking about this kit, just because I enjoy history a lot. I enjoy World War I history. So this is a really fun kit for me to make, and it was informative. I got a little more experience with that history, and it's a fun way to touch what is a historical gun, and then have some modern kit with it, but all still in the style and fashion of what they used back then in the day, and to see how much at times it kind of did suck to use. But I hope you enjoyed this one quite a bit. If you have any questions, drop them below. If you have any suggestions for a future kit for a gun like this, let me know below, because we can see what we can do in the future for that. See what we can convince the boss to buy for us, and then go that way with it. But it was a lot of fun. Again, I know I've said that a lot, but 2026, that's what we're going to try and do. Have a lot more fun. Otherwise, I really do appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching. Drop some comments below. We're going to finish this video up just walking around a little bit, do a little bit of shooting, and so just stick around and enjoy that.
Okay, let's do one more of that.